Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to give you some insights of the backend code we will use in our future video. We will write some of REST API testing and set up some REST API testing framework. So for that purpose, we're going to just use these our endpoints that we created. So to give you some overview of this, basically there are four different type of endpoints: HttpMethod, get, put, delete, and post. So we're going to use some get and post here for this example. To get more insights of how the endpoints will work, I have other videos in past. You please feel free to watch them. So when we come to this one, if you notice there's just a slash. Basically this means there's nothing else you need to enter after some base URL. In our case, base URL will be localhost port number whatever port number it is in the config, we will pull from there. So once you enter the valid base URL, we will get this value into the browser. There are other ones which is called post. Post basically can only be entered through some tools like a POSTMAN or any other API tools. And then POSTMAN, into the POSTMAN we will have to match this request, what it is asking. So it says request, the argument is request body should be into this many request. Once we pass the valid many request object into the POSTMAN, then it will go through these validations, and if the values are valid, it will return us the valid response. Otherwise it will just return us some errors, that just custom errors that we've added. So this is just basically the two things, the main key here. So I'm going to go through that. So for the validation purpose, I have only created just basically the error messages. So here if you see, it is just checking if the menu contains if the menu here that is sent in the request onto the POSTMAN contains appetizer, or it is not containing the appetizer. Basically, if the appetizer is not there, we are assuming that to be error. We assume every customers will order appetizer and entree. So this is just a dummy again. I mean, it's not necessary. It's just for example purpose. So what we're saying is, in the request, anybody should order some appetizer and menu. And then similarly, if the request of the soft drinks doesn't contain any of these values, which is valid drinks here, if you see here, that is this is an array list. We are assuming the soft drinks in the restaurant be one of this. Again, this is example. There are more soft drinks available. So if one of these is not the soft drinks, then what we're saying is we don't support the soft drinks that you are asking as a soft drinks. So that we will see, and the practical example how it will work. So this is just a kind of dummy validator I have there. There's some error object. Basically, error object is just going to throw us some error code and error messages, which we will see here in the same validator that we just looked. Now after that, yeah, I think that will be it for us. Okay, and there are a few things to remember. There are some configs here. So application.properties, this is where you would be able to define what port number you need. So in my case, I would like to use 9081 as a port number. So now if I go into the browser and enter if I hit that, I see nothing because my application is down right now. So let me go ahead and open it up. Similarly, I can do the same thing here. So this is the get request, I'm entering localhost 9081 with a slash, meaning slash can just be entered or not entered, it doesn't matter. Now when I hit that, I don't see any response. Basically what this means is there's no connection. So what we need to do that is we need to first start our applications. So starting application goes through this application here, and it will run through Spring Boot. We will just run this method and then it will trigger the application. So let's start that. So once I start that, it will start showing all the logs and what it is doing here. So again, this may be little faster for you, but this is the idea of this video, is just to give insights of how the Postman will work, how we would be able to run the API testing through the Postman basically. So the app should be up now. If you go here, when we hit the same thing, I should be able to get some response. Few things to note here. One is 200 is a response code. That means okay, that means good. And then there are a few headers in the response. It's just default one, we didn't add any. In the Postman, if you see, there are some values here. Key value, basically the params is only for the get type of call, where you would have to pass into these headers like that here. In our case, there's no parameters, so there will be nothing here. No authorization. We'll go over that in our future videos. I'm going to add some authorization, so where you'd be able to pass the user ID, password, or one of these, any of this. So if you go basic auth, you need to provide this, otherwise it will not work. It will just say no authorized. So if you go back to headers, there's nothing other than just application JSON, and just default. Obviously the get request will never have a body. If you pass the body, then it will say it's not valid, and the rest of those are nothing. So when I send that, we got the response. So this is again just the purpose of just showing you how the endpoints that we have built works in a Postman, so that in tomorrow we will do the real example, like calling in these through the automation test and validating the same values. That is the main idea here. So now there are a few things I would like to go over this. There are various ways you can test it. So for example, you are just passing the wrong URL here, right, into the post. Obviously you are passing the correct values and everything. The body is just empty. If it's a post, you have to have some empty body. Header, nothing changes. The only different here is it's a post, and then the URL is a bad URL. Basically the endpoint URL is not what we have defined in our code. So when I try to send this, it will say 404 not found. Basically 404 means the endpoint, our controller did not recognize this URL. So when it doesn't recognize, it will say, hey, 404, I don't know that, whatever you are passing. So those are default ones. So now let's go some error validations. So let's say in our request body, let's go back over this little quick. Control A, Control. So here, when you pass this value, so what I'm saying is in the soft drink section, I'm passing the Tuborg beer. And every menu item has their own prices. So appetizer is out there. Our validation was in appetizer should not be empty. Entrees should not be empty. So in our case, that is true. But in a soft drinks, we are passing the Tuborg beer, which is similarly we have some bad request examples. Basically here, if we send this request, let's see what the request has, right? So here, if you see, the request is something in that's not expected. So if you see this one, there's a buffet. Buffet is itself another object, right? So that is not the case. We don't have that defined. So it has, if this is the case, we should have buffet as a different object which has some value as a buffet to go. as a parameter. So we're passing something that our controller has never defined. So in that case, we're sending 400 bad requests. So that means it's not what it's expected. So here, and one more, and then we'll go back to our code. So, and then this is a post request. So this is the best, like a valid example. So it has the body here. This is our request, and the bottom one's a response. So if you come here, we are telling buffet is a boolean value, soft drinks has one of the valid values, and similarly everything is out there, right? When we send that, our logic is basically whatever you send, you will return in same format. So these are all the endpoints we are going to use in our future examples, so that it will cover all that. So now here, if you come back to what is the menu request, right? When we go to menu request, let's come back to the controller. So this one, when I send this request, this is the only one recognized ones, menu items. Your request should be here in this format. So here we need to provide list of appetizers, right? Appetizer itself is an object. List of entree is itself an object. Soft drinks, it has to be list of soft drinks. It can be one or more. And is buffet is just a boolean value part of this menu request. That's why you see here buffet is just different value, different attribute for this request. Now list of appetizer, if you see here, soft drinks is a list, right? Menu is a list, which tells with this score basis. Appetizer is also list. So here, how is this formed? So if you see here, appetizer is a list, which means it has an appetizer and a price. So two attribute is inside here. If you see here, appetizer, price, same cases, right? Uppercase, lowercase, basically it has to match up. So appetizer, this is Lombok we're using for that, and then Lombok has some built-in beautiful methods that minimizes the code. So with the Lombok, just data, what it says is setting, and getting everything will be taken care of this. We don't have to write getter and setters and all that constructors. So that is appetizer. Likewise, we have entree, same thing. Soft drink and drink name, price, that's all what we want for now. Buffet, this is not the object, so this is just right here. So we are in order to send the menu as a request, you have to provide all four of these objects, right? So that is all what it is doing here. So in the menu request, when I pass, we are testing some of the impulse. What it is doing is it will return that value, and it will validate if they are valid or not, and then it will return if it is valid. So that's what we're getting. So lots of informations, and again, this is just a high level overview, and we are going to use this same API request with using these endpoints in our future video. What we will do is we'll set up a quick automation framework. I have nothing right now, so in our next video we'll start it from scratch, and we will go over this. We don't need to come back here again. We just, when we test it, because it's local, we'll just have to start this app once, and it is running here. You could see that. If I provide, okay, one more thing, in the backend log, if I pass some invalid values, it will tell right out here in the logs. So it will say, what is valid and what are not, what error occurred in the API calls. So those are kind of logging. Well, so this is all I have for today. In my next video, I will start setting up the automation for RESTful API using REST Assured, and we will just call these endpoints through automation and validate them. and we're gonna talk about what are the best practices we may be able to follow. So this is please, if there are questions, please feel free to comment, and then I'll try to address them. And I think this is it. So this is the IDE here is a little bit different than I used in past. So this is IntelliJ. So IntelliJ has some built-in plugins, and you can download that, the community edition, and which is free. So it's very helpful for some built-in plugins and installing them, and it has some cool features. So I think I should just stop right now here, and then we are going to continue on the following video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have not, please subscribe my channel. If you like this video, thumbs up. We will talk about more cool things in the future.